From 10% chance of success to the world's largest IPO yesterday, unless again you were under a rock, SpaceX successfully completed their IPO, raising over a valuation of over $2 trillion. Yes, I did buy the SpaceX IPO after all. I was fortunate to get 10 shares allocated through my brokerage at $135, the offering price. The last time I bought an IPO that was trading at 100 times sales was Facebook, a company that was back in 2012. Yesterday, SpaceX was the first IPO I've ever bought on the day of IPO. Usually my approach has been I wait 3 to 6 months for it to develop a trading range, get all the liquidity, get the retail out of the way, the people that are flipping, the insiders selling, the lockup period out of the way. But with SpaceX, I did take a slightly different approach. This is a completely different IPO, completely different company. I think what's unique about it is unlocking a whole new economy, the space economy, something that really doesn't exist yet. And you talk about moats, they've got, you'd have to agree, just about the biggest moat potentially going forward. They've got the ticket to space. That's why I'm very bullish on SpaceX. This is not investment advice. This is just me explaining when I think about technology and what things are going to emerge over the next, not month, week, or year, but 3 to 5 years generally, and what has the most success. So I saw a lot of commonalities. When I bought the Facebook IPO, I did wait 3 months. It IPO'd in 2012 at $38. It actually did go down. It sank like a rock, dropped 50% over the summer. And I started taking a position at 19. The one mistake, and I'm not going to repeat it with SpaceX, the one mistake I made with Facebook was I didn't continue buying it. I stopped buying it. I'm not going to make that mistake with SpaceX. So I bought it yesterday. Yeah, partly out of novelty. I didn't really care. A few shares isn't going to make much of a difference. I can sit here and say, yay, I bought SpaceX on IPO day. What do I think SpaceX is going to do over the next 12 months? Probably nothing. From a valuation standpoint, probably nothing. They're going to continue to grow. I know what's going to end up happening. Thousands of engineers are going to work, hard at work every day, growing the Starlink business, the space launch business, and the AI business. That's the hard part. I've got the easy part. I just have to sit back and wait what I will do for 3 years. I think it's going to be quite a fine story. So I'm going to show you a couple of things. One resource I would look at. So I've been following the SpaceX story pretty closely for 3 years. Go to the SpaceX website. You can see live launches. Hey, that's fun. But you can actually learn about the companies and the progress and the progression to see how their business units are growing, what they're doing in place. I think that's informative. Then you become an informative investor. See, the big thing that tipped me over the scale, and this applies to anything you're looking at when it comes to technology, when the masses are talking about something, you will recognize those who have done their work, those who haven't. The room quickly separates. And what pushed me over the edge of not waiting 3 months, a month, like I typically do after I've only bought 3 IPOs. So this is not a typical pattern for me. What pushed me over the edge was a week, 2 weeks leading up to the IPO, the chatter. What was being said and who was saying it? I listened very carefully. And I listened in the sense that the people that were saying that this is the trap, a terrible investment, you could tell they didn't do their homework. Another thing is, what's the time period? Are they looking for a great investment this week, this month, the rest of the year? That's different than what maybe my time horizon is. I'm looking for 3, 5 years. Like I will own this probably forever. That was the intent going in. So I will continue to add to it. Well, I think that's perfectly fine. I don't think SpaceX is going to do much between now and the end of the year. Trading range 180, 130, maybe it breaks its offering price. And I'll selectively start buying it where it is. Again, this is not investment advice. Do your own research. This is just how I approach investing. And we'll talk more about this as we learn about technology. But there's numerous things that you can look at. The Roadshow slide deck out there on the SpaceX website. I mean, there's some really powerful stuff that's out there. It breaks down it breaks down the full business. I'll just share this. Like, if here's one thing, just simply how they monetize the compute infrastructure. This is something very few people are talking about. They're monetizing it from left to right. We talked about the Anthropic and Google deal, close to $1 billion a month. That's cash flow coming in as they continue to build out. Short term, I hate to say the contracts, it's an agreement. Either party can cancel at any time, but that's just a great way to use and sell excess capacity. The middle lane, Grok, is the offering. When they merged XAI, Grok isn't very good. Well, it's good. It needs to be great. The acquisition, or the partnership rather, with Cursor fills that void. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out between now and the end of the year. Can they make something out of it? If they do that, that would be a major head. I think that would incredibly elevate their story, because that's going to give them the XAI, or the AI compute power that they desperately need. So all that will be taking place in addition to eventual space launch. The Roadshow slide deck has some incredible slides in there that talks about, at least gives you some visuals. You can start reading about the in-depth space launch, getting 100 tons to space on each launch. That's what's going to shift things out. That's what's really going to level the playing field. What's going to be needed long-term, 2 to 3 years out or more, is compute, is data centers up in space. We can't generate enough power here in the US to meet the ongoing need. China has more than doubled the power creation in country to meet their need. Like, it is a main priority in China. A completely different environment, regulatory, legislatively. They are an engineering economy. They are building power plants, nuclear plants. Think about it. When is the last time a nuclear power plant went up near you? It's not happening. It's in works. It takes years to build out. We're not going to have enough time to get that capacity in place. So there's a monetary incentive to further decrease the launch cost, which has taken place from 15, 10, 5,000. We're at 1,000 and change now, to $100 per kilogram, getting that up to space. That's what's needed. That's what's going to turn the corner, probably 2, maybe 3 years out before anything really takes place there. The whole Starlink thing, holy cow. So you use Starlink for your internet. The more I've looked into it, it's more expensive than what we currently pay for home internet, but it looks really good. And it might be the situation where it's price is what you pay, value is what you get. Do you use Starlink? I'd love to hear about that. Drop a comment or a note if you've had any experiences using Starlink for personal internet. I'd like to know more about that. That's going to be another big model of cash generation going forward. So I am prepared with all that work that's being done internally. I'm very comfortable to sit back over the next 1,000 days, 3 years. That's my general measuring stick on things like this. 1,000 days. How is the business going to progress? That's what I'm going to be watching, and I will selectively buy if for instance, it looks like this has a trading range where it holds up 160 to 180, and this is it. Well, that might indicate this is the buy zone. What I'm really going to be looking for to see is if it reaches that 135 offering price, where it settles. I can see $100 scenario, and if the macro would have to help, the macro in the market would have to hold up too. So there's a few things I'd be looking at there. But this fits the bill, folks, of the 3 IPOs that I've bought in the past that did quite well in. This company excites me actually more than anything, enough to actually start a YouTube channel and break away from my old podcast format to actually just talk about innovation. This is very inspirational. I think it's inspiring. And if you do your homework, you can set yourself up, I think, quite well. And just being informed, at least, if nothing else, it's just interesting to be the informed person in the room to understand what's going on, because there will be a conversation like, this is crazy, we'll never get to Mars. Okay, well, if that's your measuring stick, so to me that's like such a big finish line, getting to Mars and colonizing with, I think Elon Musk's pay incentive is colonizing Mars with 1 million people. Well, that's bigger than the city that I live in. It's hard to fathom that. Like, we're not even there. We've never been there. And all of a sudden, we're going to have a colony of 1 million people. Okay. If like that's your finish line, there's so much you're missing in the story. It just be need to be informed about it, for nothing else, general knowledge. So, what are your thoughts on SpaceX? How are you going to approach it? I'd love to know your comments, and also comments. Have I lost my mind this time? Am I crazy? I don't think so.